The morning of February 28, 2023, Mr. Mark Baumgartner, head of a nonprofit offering alternatives to abortion, called 911 and was put in contact with the Police Department of Columbia, South Carolina. The following is the police report submitted by Officer Rodriguez. Though Mr. Baumgartner called the police, the reporting officer listed him as the suspect and the other party as the victims. On February 28th, CPD units were dispatched to 2719 Middleburg Drive, Planned Parenthood, in regards to an altercation between the suspect, Mark Baumgartner, spelled incorrectly, and the victims, Jonathan Bannister and Megan Decker. Upon arriving to the scene, reporting officer made contact with the suspect, who stated that he and his volunteers were attempting to pass out information for their cause and to speak with the occupants of a truck that was pulling up to the location. When they were approaching the vehicle, the occupants stated that they would shoot and kill them if they got close to the vehicle. The suspect stated that he did not see a firearm, but had feared for his life because of the tone that the occupants of the vehicle used. Reporting officer then approached the occupants of the vehicle, who stated that they were attempting to locate Planned Parenthood as they had scheduled an appointment but were unable to locate it. They had originally made contact with the volunteer to ask for directions, but the volunteer stated she would not help them locate the clinic, and attempted to speak to them in regards of their cause. Both Mr. Bannister and Miss Decker stated that they did not wish to speak with her and rolled their windows up and continued to attempt to locate the clinic. Note that, despite being told such, the officer did not report that the couple also threatened to kill this first volunteer. They stated that they tried to turn around to use a different entrance, and other volunteers had attempted to surround the vehicle, preventing them from using the road or be able to gain entry into the location. The occupants felt threatened as they were unable to move their vehicle and shouted to the volunteers to move away from the vehicle or they would harm them with a firearm. Both of them stated that there was no firearm in the vehicle, and they said that they were going to shoot them because they were scared, as they were just attempting to go use the clinic and the volunteers were preventing them from doing so. The suspect stated he had footage showing that what the victims were stating was false, but when he showed video to CPD units, the incident occurred out of frame. Reporting officer made contact with security, who has security cameras in the area, but when they showed reporting officer the footage, a large tree is covering the entrance where the incident occurred. Reporting officer did not find sufficient evidence and stated to both sides that there was no criminal or ill intent on either party and that if they wished, they could resolve this incident in civil court. By his labeling of suspect and victims, clearly the reporting officer believed the story from the occupants of the truck, that Mr. Baumgartner and other volunteers with him had prevented them from moving their vehicle. These are serious claims. Let's use the available footage to review the full timeline and see whose story holds up. Here the truck first arrives in the area at 7:48 in the morning. It approaches the first volunteer, Sherry, offering a gift bag.
The GMC Sierra truck is on their way towards 2, very upset, threatens me.
Henry, pull the video of that.
The truck has now missed the entrance to Planned Parenthood and is going the wrong direction. We will fast forward as the truck turns around in the parking lot. Here it is again, facing back towards Planned Parenthood. It pulls in one driveway too early. They use the parking lot to turn around. This is Mr. Mark Baumgartner, the victim who later called the police. As usual, he is looking to speak with the truck occupants to offer alternatives to abortion. This is the encounter we are focused on. Mr. Baumgartner immediately relays the verbal threat to the other volunteers.
He's threatening to kill me and she's threatening to kill me. 5634 Victor Tango.
While the reporting officer is correct that most of the encounter takes place out of frame from this angle, there is still much to glean. The suspects in the truck reported that Mr. Baumgartner and other volunteers attempted to surround the vehicle and prevent them from leaving. This is why, as they admit in the report, they threatened to shoot Mr. Baumgartner. Let's zoom in and take a closer look. As you can see, as the truck drives away, Mr. Baumgartner's body never moves. If the truck can freely drive forward, this means that he could never have been positioned in a way that blocked the vehicle. But let's back up again. Watch his legs. He never has to lift a leg off of the road. He never left the grass. Clearly, Mr. Baumgartner never blocked the vehicle. But the suspects reported additional volunteers attempting to surround the vehicle. Could they be out of frame? This angle doesn't tell us. But this one does. Notice that we can see the incident in the reflection. First, let's orient where this is, utilizing this picture taken on a later day. Here is the driveway where the truck sat, and here is the grass where Mr. Baumgartner stood. We see a smaller two-window section of the building here, followed by the vehicle reflection to the left, here. Here comes Mr. Baumgartner, and there is no one else in sight. If anyone was somehow being blocked by this part of the building, or the tree reflection, this tree, they would have to be in the road. Yet we see no movement. Even as the truck drives away, still no movement of any volunteers. Now, even with the truck gone, there is still no movement to suggest anyone else present. Even with this car approaching, there is no movement, nor does the car slow down as if someone was in the road. Let's zoom out and rewatch the encounter and see if there is any movement by the street in the wide shot. Still nothing. The suspects reported multiple people surrounding the vehicle, preventing them from leaving. But clearly, Mr. Baumgartner was both alone and in no way blocking the vehicle. The truck occupants, Mr. Bannister and Ms. Decker, clearly lied to the police about the encounter, and used their lie to justify threatening to shoot Mr. Baumgartner.
He's threatening to kill me and she's threatening to kill me. 5634 Victor Tango.
The truck then spent several minutes in this parking lot across the road from Planned Parenthood. We will fast forward again. Here is the truck. This time pulling into the parking lot of Planned Parenthood. And here they are parking. After this, the police arrived, spoke with Mr. Baumgartner, who had called them to the scene, and then spoke with the occupants of the truck. Despite the threat to shoot Mr. Baumgartner, the officers never searched the vehicle for a weapon. The officer then filed his report, painting the truck occupants as the victims. Here they are leaving Planned Parenthood unobstructed. Based on the footage, the story presented by Mr. Bannister and Ms. Decker is demonstrably false, and Mr. Baumgartner's report holds up.
He's